So good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening beautiful event. I'm really excited about it to be with Rose Bennett again. Good evening, Robin. How are you?
I'm really great, and I'm so happy to be here with you and everyone who's here and everyone who'll be here with us via the magic of Zoom recordings.
Yes, yes. So we had a talk a little while back, and I really felt that I wanted to bring you back first because so many people really enjoy all the wisdom that you shared, and also because I'm starting to see a lot of common patterns in the people that are coming to see me in my practice, which I'm sure we are going to discuss that you might see also, which are those patterns of people being very exhausted and feeling that the world is a little bit too much sometimes between the pandemic and what's happening with the environment and climate and politics and economics and social disruptions, just a lot, right? And people are feeling sometimes that they don't really have much space to breathe. And the nervous system can be very dysregulated. And so we titled the event tonight, Resilience, Stability, and the Nervous System. And I want to connect that with you because obviously this is your line of work as an herbalist, as someone that's been doing this work for almost 40 years, right? To herbal medicine and earth connection. So good evening, Robin. And before we dive into the subject, I'm not reading your bios this time because people can read it under, but how would you introduce yourself? What would you say about you as a herbalist? You're a writer, you're a poet, you're a witch.
I
So
think you just introduced me, but yeah, hi everyone. I am a green witch. I am an herbalist. I am a woman living on the earth, a person like you, and I am really, and I love writing. So I'm going to share some writings from books that are already out in the world and also from a book that's not out yet with you tonight, just little things that relate to our theme. But yeah, I'm a woman in love with the earth, and the earth has helped me become a person who's fallen in love with life. And that was not where I was always at. So I am really honored and so grateful for the opportunity to share with you some of the things that have helped me to find this love of being here in a body on the earth in this wildly chaotic time that we're in. And yeah, and just share with you.
thank you. As you were sharing about that love for the earth, I had my eyes closed and I was listening to you, and I just had this vision of you as a little girl being in the forest and making potions and just making magic. And I don't know if this is true, but I wanted to open the question first with that. How did you start it? How did you start on that path with the plant? And was it something that was always there for you? And then we can talk about today's subjects.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a moment here because I want to give everyone a bit of this beauty, just a bit of this beauty of this orange, fiery, lovely flower. And I grew up in the suburbs, not in the forest, with family who did not have a deep earth connection, to say the least. And yet, a funny thing happened. That is, I uncovered we would, okay, so you already said how long I've been doing this. So I'm elder. I'm a budding baby cronette at this point, the way I see it. And we took home movies, like they were 8 millimeter home movies then. And a bunch of them kind of turned up a while back, maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago or so. And I had no memory of like feeling connected to the earth or the beauty of nature or this or that. But there I was, about maybe I don't know, I look about 2 in this, I was going to say in this video, in this movie, and I'm 2 years old. I have no clothes on, and I run up to the camera and I do this with a dandelion. And that was the way my whoever took it, probably my dad, you know, how he finished the video. So apparently, yeah, it was there. Apparently it was there. So, you know, wild in the woods, naked, and showing people, hey, look at this dandelion, look at this amazing flower, everyone. So yeah, so some part of me was connected, some part
Yeah.
of me. And I think for all of us, if we, um, when we do look back or find stories that others maybe tell us of what we were like when we were little, they can be kind of maps for who we really are. You know, it can be really helpful because there is that authenticity in childhood, right? That does, it reveals to us who we actually are. And if we lived in a healthy culture, of course, that's exactly the part that would be encouraged. But we don't yet live in a healthy culture. And so that's typically not encouraged. It's like, Robin, go put on your clothes, put on your high heels, you know, get ready to, you know, go into the world and la da 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 da.
Yeah. And
So,
what's going on with
and
the
whatever,
dandelion, right?
right. And yeah, put down that weed. So, you know, whatever your version of that is. But so, yeah. So, yeah, not brought up in the forest. I found my way to the forest as I got older.
Hmm. So I've brought a few herbalists and elders and people that are working deeply with plant connection spiritually and more in a medical way also. I mean, they are both medical ways, just different angles. And I like
Mhm.
to ask, is there one plant that put you on the path? Because is there one plant that was here at the beginning, or maybe it was a bit later on, but the one that you felt kind of brought you onto that? Or is there just maybe many plants? But sometimes people have this one plant, like, no, I had this memory or this connection there.
Well, you know, yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, when I was like in my 20s and I lived in Northern California and I was out in the redwoods, that kind of just, you know,
Hmm.
opened something in me because I'd never seen trees like that before, right? So that was just extraordinary. Um, but like in a little side moment here with that, just to acknowledge, you know, that it's all about the relationship. If it was just the beauty outside and around us, we'd all be dancing all the time, right? But like part of what I part of my growth was during that time, I came to realize that wherever I went, there I was, because I realized I could be depressed in this exquisite landscape. I could be, you know, I could be anything. I could be elated, but I could be miserable, that it wasn't just enough, that it was there. And then answering, so that is just an important piece of the puzzle. It's your relationship with what you're drawn to, not just that it's you're drawn to it.
Mhm.
And then to answer you, Angel, about specifically when I decided I was going to study herbal medicine, I did have a dream that I was under this tree and I was in danger. And even though the tree wasn't big or you know, old, the tree was somehow protecting me and keeping me safe. And I had no idea what the tree was. But then eventually I met the tree, and it was an elder tree.
Mhm.
So I like to say elder was the first tree that claimed me, you know,
Mhm.
that called me and said, you know, come on, this is a path, come on.
I'm letting
Um,
that claiming sip inside me. Like, it's such a beautiful term that you're using here. Um,
Thank you. I'd also love to just light a candle. This
mm,
is a raven, 3 ravens around this candle. And I want to bring fire into our gathering. And maybe some of you have a candle lit, but I want to bring fire into this moment. Because fire, because tonight I want to also talk about the elements, the importance of our relationship with the air, fire, water, and earth. So I'm just lighting this candle, and I chose the ones in the raven holder because ravens are such fun magic, trickster creatures. And I think that in heavy times, we need to lighten up as much as possible. So Raven kind of calls us to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because very often I feel what we've lost is really joy and play a lot, right? We become very serious along the way. And
Yes, and
our
it's
systems are very serious, our governments, our schools, just everything, right? And in
well, it's
traditional
so
culture,
serious. Yeah, it's so serious that we have to have even more fun.
yeah, right. And in traditional culture, there's much more laughing and playing, even in ritual or ceremonial context. I feel the ceremonies
Absolutely.
are much more, inviting to dance and to laugh and open
Absolutely,
to that.
absolutely. You've gotta be able to laugh to make it through, and to make it through with joy. So I do want to. There's so many things I want to share. I know I'm not going to get to all of them, but one of them is it okay, Angel, if I just bring it right in?
This is your garden, your forest,
Oh, okay.
your
All right.
greenhouse,
Okay.
whatever you want to call it.
Okay. So I want you to, you all to think about, or it doesn't, it's not this moment, but beyond this moment as well. Like, what steadies you? What steadies you? So one of the things that has steadied me is my connection with through the pandemic and through through losses, through losses of beloveds, and you know various challenging, grievous things, personal things, as well as big picture things, is my connection with a particular oak tree. And some of you who know me have no doubt heard me speak of this grandmother, grandfather oak tree before. But I was doing some chores in late in the day and getting ready to come home to get ready for this. And it was time, it was like, okay, I need to go home. And I was driving and the oak tree called me. And now I know, and you know, that I can connect with that tree in my imagination, but it was like, no, come. So I'm like, okay, I hear and obey. So off I go. I drive into this place where this magnificent elder lives, which is in this parking lot. Like, so it's already like you got to open your mind because this sacred being is in a very strange, and that's only the half of the setting of what makes this so weird. But I'm not going to spend our time on that. So I said, Oak, is there some message you want me to bring tonight to this circle? Because I really felt that was why I heard that call. And of course, Oak said yes. So the message was, let go that which it's time to let go. Let go that which it is time to let go. And what I want to speak with you about are two meanings of letting go. Two meanings of letting go that I've been thinking about. One of them is pretty classic, right? To put down that which is no longer serving you, right? Stop carrying around that old resentment or that own lack of belief in yourself, or whatever it might be. But particularly, maybe a good overarching way to think about it is let go of the limiting stories. Let go of stories that limit you. They don't serve anything, and they're stories. So if you're going to tell a story, you might as well tell one that's more expansive. So letting go in that classic way of put down what you carry that doesn't serve you. But and I have a personal particular tip around this too. That's just my students have found helpful over the years, or perhaps they've been annoyed by how much I say it. But nonetheless, I'm going to say it. Is stop saying out louder to yourself, "It's so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard." It's such a common thing, and it's a negating affirmation. It's something that makes it continue to be hard. So I'm just passing that along. And, I'm just passing along. Use what serves, and what doesn't resonate, just, out it goes for you. But the other side of letting go that I felt when I was with this wonderfully generous oak tree, who had, by the way, dropped a very substantial branch. A very substantial branch was on the ground. And I often stand under the tree. So that gave me a moment's pause too. And I park under the tree too. So it's like, let me check in each time I do that. But the other part of letting go is like, stop holding yourself in. Stop holding your authentic self back. Like, that's part of what causes us so much distress and exhaustion and depletion and pain, is we're not actually allowing ourselves to let go into our lives. And I guess so it's like, let go of holding yourself back, let go of holding yourself in. And the plants help us so much to listen and find that path of our hearts that lead us truly, that they do, right? If we will listen to our hearts, they lead us where we need to go. And I've recently been reading a book called, let's see, whenever you say a book, people like to see it. So I've been reading this book, Heard Around the Fire. And this is, okay, what the story of this book is that this is fire itself, fire, speaking through a chosen conduit, a man named David Wiley, and people like recorded these talks around various council fires over some years. And I'm really enjoying it. So fire in this book says, I am the path of the heart. I am the path of the heart. And what I want to add to this is that, how we, all of us, at some time or another, find ourselves saying, I don't trust that person, or I don't trust things will work out, whatever it might be. But what I want to put for your consideration, as my very first spiritual teachers presented to me many years ago, and they really shifted how I live my life, or helped me open the door to shift how I live my life. They said, you're always trusting. Just what are you trusting in? You are always in trust, right? So I was recently thinking about this, about a person, and I was like, well, I can't work with her anymore because I don't trust her. I choose not to, because I don't want to work for somebody I don't trust. And then I was, well, of course I do. I trust her to be dishonest. I trust her to be bullying. I trust her to be, blah, 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 blah. And that's not the energy I want to be aligned with. So it's not that I don't trust her. I do, right? But it's, what am I trusting in, right? And what are you trusting in? And we need to challenge ourselves, right? We need to, because you wouldn't be here if you weren't called to be part of the solutions to the time we're in, right? We know we're gathered because we all want to be creatively involved, or creatively alive, creatively helpful. And what I've seen is that when you are who you are, which the plants help you with so much, and I can get to that in a minute, get some real specifics for you. When you are who you are, what you do to be of service becomes ever more joyful, ever more effortless, and it ripples out. So we try too hard when really it's about, who am I? What do I want to be aligned with? What gives me joy? And I think we need to, like to Angel's point about, so serious. Here's something that I almost never speak of in these kinds of settings that I've been thinking about. I want to speak to this too. We need some escapism as well. We need some flat out, going to the movies, or binge watching some series you like. Like, we need all of the, authentic deep work that we do, in the connecting and the meditating but we also need some escapism here and there to relieve the stress, to relieve the pressure. I just went to see Wakanda Forever. It was fabulous. Highly recommended.
I like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
One of the central systems in our bodies is the nervous system, right? That is
Mhm.
processing information, that is connecting all our organs. I see it as
Yeah.
layered with other type of energy system. We could think of the Chinese or the acupuncture system or other, layers, more
Mhm.
spiritual
Yep. Yep.
and that. And um, I think, yeah, this seriousness, all the bad words. I like your invitation here to think about how we pray, how we talk, basically, how we talk about
Mhm.
each other
Yes.
and about ourselves, what kind of
Mhm.
vibration is carried. It's funny because I was writing a post just about that this afternoon and about the work of Dr. Emoto on the vibration of
Wow.
water. Because years ago, I did this experiment that I was seeing on YouTube everywhere, which is, to cook some rice, that grain, to put it in 2 jars and to put a love sign on one jar and a hate sign on the other. And every morning to say, I love you to one of the jar of rice, right? And I hate you, or you're ugly, or whatever bad
Mhm.
stuff to the other one. And within 2 or 3 weeks, one jar, the hate jar, so the rice become all black and moldy and liquid. And the
Mm.
white, the love jar, the rice never changed. In 3 weeks was still perfect. I was really puzzled
I
by
love
it.
that.
So I did it again and again and again. I did 4 times, and 4 times I got the
Mhm.
same result. And it worked on
Wow.
rice. So I was like, wow, on
Yeah.
me, on you,
Yeah.
right? On the tree,
Right. Wow.
on, yeah, what you were saying. It's so hard, right? There is truth in it. Sometimes life is hard, right? But what is
Oh,
it?
yes.
What is it that I want to send to something that is suffering? If I have
Well,
pain,
and not right. And joy doesn't preclude grief. I mean, grief
mhm,
is
totally.
essential. Grief is a sacrament. Grief unfelt is, festers and makes us ill. And, so I mean, at the early in the pandemic, I went to the Oak for some counsel, and
Mm.
one of the things Oak said that I will hold forever and share forever is, and Oak said it very, very slowly. I'm going to say it slowly. Joy is medicine. But joy is a large enough container
Mm.
to also hold our grief. It truly is. It truly is. So I don't to make it through these times healthily, happily, feeling you know, intact, not falling into the powers that be want us to give up, want us in despair, or want us numb, and all of that. So how do we not, what alternatives do we have? So I want to share like a few plants and a few simple rituals that have helped me and others with the thought that they might be helpful to you.
Mm.
Um, so just even for not just for the first example, I like to carry around. My labels aren't fancy. All my apprentices, their labels are much more beautiful than mine. So there you go. But so like here, for example, lavender water, spray bottle, little glass bottle of lavender tea. Even right before here, I just sprayed myself to be, kind of calm, right? Before speaking. Um, I bring it with me places I go. So maybe like there's some, a grumpy, I don't know, cashier or gas station, or somebody's going to put me off, right? Um, if I'm not in myself. So it's
Mm.
nice to bring, and I actually have found times where that grumpy cashier or the one with the headache or whatever, I'll offer them a spray and they usually say yes. They usually say yes. So, you can, something simple like that, right? You can use an essential oil if you prefer and put maybe, I don't know, rough 5, 10 drops in a couple of ounces of water like this. I do recommend a glass jar if you can. It's nicer, a glass spray bottle. When I'm traveling, I'll use essential oil, but in a typical, just carrying it around for a few days, I'll just make a nice tea. Drinking lavender tea is really, really helpful to for heartbreak. If your heart's been broken, lavender is a wonderful healing plant for that. You don't need to have a broken heart to enjoy drinking lavender tea, though. It can help you sleep, calm you down, and so forth.
I was just thinking that the world is breaking our heart a little bit every day, so we probably all need a little bit of lavender, right?
Yes, and absolutely. And indeed, it is. It is. It is breaking our hearts, but may it be breaking our hearts open, right? Because one of the things that I have seen is that the only heart that can't be broken is the heart that's already wide open. And so, you know, we are in pain from lack of feeling connected to one another. Like, you know, I mean, I have a nephew I love so much, and he said to me, "Why would I care about them? I don't know them." And I was like, oh my God, that's a really common attitude that I can't even like fathom it, but that is his real question. He also said infamously to me, "You witches are so lucky. All you have to do is go outside and you're happy." It's like, I wish I could do that. So yeah, so just go outside. It does help you become happy. But back to the heart. Another really easy thing that everybody can do is to make yourself a jar. You can buy it too and support local herbalists. I have a whole bunch of those on my resources on my website and in my books. But this is a jar made by one of my students. See how much nicer her label is than mine. And it's rose honey. So this happens to be made with fresh roses, filling a jar, don't wash them, fresh roses, covered with honey, cap it and let it sit for at least a month. Now it's cold, at least where I am. You might be from anywhere, I don't know, but you can do this with dried as well. You can, if you're doing it with dried, let's say it was this size jar, you would fill it up about maybe 25% full with the dried roses and then 100% full with the honey. And you just want to stir it up, like, so you get the honey gets all saturated with the rose. If you could smell this, you would swoon with me. It's so gorgeous. And you can eat it by a spoon. You can put it on toast. I use it for facials. So rose, you know, I actually almost misunderstood, Angel, when you were saying at the beginning, like, is there a plant that opens the path? I thought you were saying, is there one plant on earth that does it for everybody?
Oh, like, no, just for you. What is your plant? Your ally, right? Your first.
But if I had to pick one that everybody could use, it would be rose, right? And rose is famous everywhere in the world. You know, rose grows in Siberia, rose grows in the tropics. I don't know if rose grows in Antarctica, but it grows in Siberia, right? Rose opens the heart. And rose has those awesome thorns, right? So it's like rose teaches us what's our yes and what's our no, right? What we say yes to, what we say no to, because they're equally important, right? Right? Like if I say yes to myself about something, I mean, you know what I mean. I don't need to explain that, right? I mean, if you have a question, put it in the chat and Angel, give it to me. But, you know, every choice there's a no to something and a yes to something else. Excuse me.
So, you know, the heart, our emotion have a huge impact on our nervous system, right? On how we're really feeling. And
Let's put it in the nervous system. Yes, I'm forgetting. That's right. Kind of.
No, that's okay. I like, we should start by the heart, right? I always finish by the heart, but I feel, you know, everything in the world in many ways consume the resources of our nervous system, right? Attention that is asked from us, you know, stress, fast life, fast pace, right? So many things kind of drain a little bit the system. And we don't often, I mean, maybe in our world we talk more about it, but very often I rarely meet people that think about recharging nervous system, strengthening nervous system, balancing the nervous
Oh,
system.
okay. That's essential. Yeah, that's
Because it's like such a
absolutely.
function. Yes, we think of our belly, we think about clearing our colon maybe, or doing a cleanse of the kidneys and the liver. But the nervous system, I feel sometimes, yeah, maybe a calming herb, right? Okay, I'm going to take lavender, it's going to calm me. But I'm thinking also about all the herbs and allies that could really help us to increase that resilience, right? To like you say, to not fall off our center in a world that might
Yeah.
take us out of it.
Right. Well, what is essential is to come into yourself 100%. What is essential is to be in yourself. That then you can walk through the world with everything and anything that's happening. And you are so full of you that the world does not pull that out of you the same way. And this is a path of experience. We have to walk this to have that happen, and we have to be working on it. It doesn't, it's not encouraged, right? So it doesn't just happen. But the nervous system, say for example, controls the pace at which the heart beats, right? So the thing about the nervous system is there is no other system of the, okay, I'm sorry, I have to pause for Yolanda's fabulous unicorn thing there. Thank you so much. The nervous system touches everywhere in the body. There isn't another system that it doesn't touch. It is part of our digestion. It is part of our sexual organs. It is part of our cardiovascular. It's definitely part of our digestive system, right? So the nervous system is the key to our health. The nervous system is the key to our resilience and our stability. So let me share with you my favorite preparation of all, which is to make a strong herbal infusion. So this is my kind of everyday thing, is to make a big jar of the herbs that I am, needing or wanting for maintaining my nervous system. So this, for example, is the reason it's empty is because I've drunk it all except for this last cup of it. But what's in here is 3 herbs. I'll say them all and then talk about them. What's in here is oats. It's oatstraw and tops, Avena, Avena, and sassafras leaves, and hawthorn berries. This blend is not only sensational tasting, right? All dry herbs. So what I did was I put this ginormous amount of herbs. See the hawthorn berries? I know you can see those, right? And the oats I actually grew for the very first time this year. So these are my own oat straw that I harvested. I'm very excited about that. And the sassafras I do collect in the woods. So I put a large amount of the herbs in. I have like lots of recipes in online and in the Gift of Healing Herbs, but I can give you one. I'll give you one for this. And then I cover it with boiling water up to the top, tap it, and let that sit overnight, right? And then when it's ready, I'm pouring off the liquid. I am squeezing out those herbs to get all of that goodness from them, and then reheating it if you like. I do usually to drink it, right? Very delicious. And hawthorn, okay, if there was one plant only, and there so fortunately is not, but if there was one plant I would tell people to make sure to incorporate into their lives right now, it's hawthorn. Hawthorn is very protective. I think I spotted something in the chat you might want to pull up, Angel, about the thorns. So think about it this way. Hawthorn is like Rose's mother. I think of Hawthorn as the grandmother and Rose as the mother, right? The big open-hearted, and then some of the other rose family plants like strawberries are like the child. So, hello, kitty. So hawthorn has enormous thorns, right? So where rose has so many, and definitely like you need to be super respectful if you're going to harvest rose, because you'll get cut, you're bleeding, right? And again, that's kind of, we become what we take into ourselves, right? So the plants, here's one of the key reasons plants help us so much that I've discovered. Plants know exactly who they are. They know who they are. They know what their gifts are. They know what they're here to give and share. And so when we take them into ourselves, they help us with that. They help us know who we are. They help us uncover our gifts or have the courage to share gifts we already know we have that we've been holding back, right? The plants, we ingest them and then we assimilate that incredible blessing of self-knowing, right? And self-acceptance too, because, you know, it's like that oak tree doesn't wish that they were a willow. Oh, I wish I was slender in life like a
Yeah, they're
willow.
not
No,
jealous of the next tree or
no, oak's
wish
like,
they
oh,
were somewhere
look at
else.
pine. Yeah. Yeah, pine looks great with those evergreen needles. I don't have needles all winter. I don't have leaves all winter. Mine fall off, right? But no, they're totally cool with whoever they are. So they help us be cool with whoever we are. And again, we live in a culture that encourages us to, you know, feel threatened by everybody who seems to have anything we don't have, or, you know, have anything together that we don't have. And let's not buy into that. Like, let's not buy into that. Let's learn from the plants, this coexistence, and to be inspired by me, to be inspired by your gifts, and you to be inspired by mine, to find our own, right? And again, it's a path to walk. There's none of us is like there. You know, these are practices, these are paths that well, I'll speak for myself, that I walk, that have made life more rich and juicy and magical and healthy and healthy. So hawthorn will not only keep your heart healthy, but those thorns kind of help you create a sense of your being as sacred space. Right? Your body, your energy field, whoosh, those thorns are intense. And that's just a little bit. Hawthorn helps your digestion. Hawthorn helps with lifting out of depression, and really helps. It's very protective in the time of COVID. Very protective in the time of COVID. So hawthorn, I highly recommend you get to know hawthorn. Potent tree, very sort of unassuming looking tree. Doesn't look like much, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Interestingly,
Yeah.
right? And then the sassafras uplifts the spirit. Sassafras is like a herbal antidepressant. Sassafras definitely uplifts the spirit. The root is the part that has traditionally been used, especially as like a spring tonic. But I use the leaves because I like them better. I like the taste better, and they're so abundant. So if I don't have to take the roots of a plant, I don't. If I need it, I would. But just to give you an idea, if I was mixing some root in with my leaf, I would put maybe maximum of 5% root to 95% leaf. And when I started, nobody sold leaves. Now some of the herb shops sell sassafras leaves too. I like to think that I helped that happen too, because I've talked about it so much in so many places for so many years. And I mean, I harvest mine when they're falling off the trees.
And the leaves are
So,
so magical. It's one of my favorite leaves out there, I
oh,
think.
nice. Yeah, I think you would really, really do great with sassafras, Angel, to help that uplift. Because also when you are, and maybe some of you are too, you know, when you're counseling a lot of people, right, and hearing a lot of grief or abuse or this or that, yeah, you can get a little overloaded. So sassafras lifts us up, but at the same time helps the lymph. So really immune supportive, helps the lymph, helps the skin, helps the liver. If I was thinking in terms of elements, I might say that hawthorn brought in like a fiery element, and sassafras more of a watery element. Okay. So, you know, and earth helps us with being present, right? And water helps us being a little looser, to flow more readily. And the third herb in there is the other one that is my probably highest recommendation for resilience and stability of the nervous system to use, like again and again, like a food, and that is the oat straw. The only person who should not use it is someone who is celiac. Many people who are gluten sensitive have no problem with drinking the oat straw. Okay. But if you are that person, you're highly gluten sensitive, what I would do is I would not make it as strong as I described. I would make a lighter version and I would check it out, little by little, and then feel, how does this feel in my body? For many people, it's absolutely fine. But if you're one of the people that it isn't, well, then we'll find something else for you, right? Because nature gives us so much abundance of nervines. And we need them. We've always needed them, but never more than now. Now we really need them. Right. So, so that's what's in my teacup. It's hawthorn, sassafras, and oat straw, and it's about to this half-gallon jar. It's about a half a cup of hawthorn berries, a cup of oat straw, and a cup of sassafras leaves. It's just a free floating recipe for you there. You could drink any one of them by themselves and you would be really happy too. Right.
Love it.
Like if, for example, if your nervous system overloads or, anxieties go into your belly, a lovely remedy is to mix that oats with lemon balm. It's a really nice one, half and half for the, when you take it in the belly.
So there's one plant that we were talking about before we connected that I really love, that for me, I believe saved my life, which is Saint John wort. I got really obsessed. So I'm going to share a little story. I got really obsessed by that plant when I discovered what it looked like, when I started looking up close to that flower, to those leaves, and then making tinctures. I got in this couple of years journey with that plant and exploring and being taught by that plant and, harvesting a certain time of the year and doing rituals with it. So it's probably like your oak tree. Oak tree came later in my life, but Saint John was one of those plants that kind of, with nettle, that put me on the path of really listening deeply to plants. So I would love for you to talk a little bit about it, because I know it's also a very important plant for the nervous system, right? And really important in the time that we are in at the moment.
Sure. Yeah. So, well, thank you. First of all, thank you to Hypericum, St. John's, for saving Angel's life. And secondly, Hypericum is the botanical name, and the one most frequently used is Hypericum perforatum. But I've been playing with other species and finding them also really, really excellent. So one of the ways to think about, I call it St. J's. One of the ways to think about St. J's is, it's non-binary, right? So St. J's likes to live on the sunny side of the street, right? And it invites you to come to the sunny side of the street, right? So when you're in shadow too much, right? She'll say, come on, come into the sun, come into the sun. So I want to encourage you also, touch is so healing in general, but certainly so healing to the nervous system, respectful, loving, kind touch, obviously. So one of the things I do is I use St. John's wort, St. J's as a body oil regularly. So this is a beautiful oil to put on yourself. It can be on places that hurt, your neck is stiff or your back or what have you. But also just, I use it as a moisturizer. You can buy it or you can make it, right? I make mine in olive oil. I do things in the folk way, or kind of the simplers way, very user friendly. In other words, there's a lot of ways to make herbal medicine. Some ways are very complex, and you weigh this and you measure that, and I don't do that. I feel that the proof is in the pudding. My simple medicines, they work really, really, really well, and I come to the plants with love and respect. If I've bought a plant, and I'm using that, then I'll just say my gratitudes over that dry herb that I bought, and of course, I do my best to buy from places where they're being harvested, with consciousness, with awareness and gratitude. Because like Angel's story, right, of loving that rice and hating the other rice because you could barely believe that it really, that's the thing is, you've worked with energy and ritual and magic for so long, and yet there's still that little doubt that comes in, like, is energy real? Is this real? So, I love that you told that story, because in addition to it revealing how true it was, it also reveals that no matter how long and deeply you've been doing something, of course doubts come in, right? Of course doubts come in. And so I don't find that spirit likes us to try to get it to prove itself, but nonetheless, sometimes they
Not very
take
much.
pain. No, and but they were nice to you and let it work in a way you couldn't miss, which is great. Like, and I'm so grateful when that happens, when something happens the way I can't miss.
Mhm.
And I don't know, Angel, I could keep going, but I also wonder is it a good time for you to kind of check the chat and see if there's things people are
Yes, some
asking
people
about?
are, asking. There was this beautiful question about the rose, and I like plants that are like that, plants that they have a very sweet side, a very lovely side, like the rose petal and the flower, and then you have the thorns. And someone was asking, can we consume all of it, the whole part of the rose? I guess from root to flowers. Um, and also, do we need to use a specific type of rose that's for consumption, or can we use just pretty much any rose, or even I'm thinking even wild roses out there? Uh,
Mhm.
and kind of the use, like you talk about the petal and the flowers, but the use of the thorns, right? I'm thinking, I always think, okay, can I make a tincture just with the thorn and use that for really strong protection, right? I'm thinking more the mystical,
Yes.
spiritual way, or
Yeah.
like nettle, right?
Right. So this is a hawthorn thorn,
That's hawthorn, yes.
everybody. That's a hawthorn thorn. And I always like to put a hawthorn thorn in my tincture when I'm making it, and then take it out. I'm not going to drink this. I'm not a sword swallower, right? But I do like to put tincture in it when I'm making it. Just the only caution I would say, and if you want to do it with just the thorns, you could. Um, but I kind of think of it more like, look at the plant. The plant, if you're going to do it, that thorn is in context, right, of the flowers and the hips. But whatever you're guided to do, I got no argument with it. But you might want to put a thorn or rose thorns into a bag, an amulet bag, but be careful about wearing it, because you'll get stuck with them.
Definitely.
But yeah, I love to put thorns in my medicine to bring in all of that different energy. So let's go back to all those many fine questions. So my favorite roses to use are wild roses. And
Hmm.
all the one caution I would put to you is be careful not to use any sprayed roses. You don't want to like get roses from the average florist and make medicine with it. Um, a guideline I can give is always check that it's got a strong scent, right? Because you might even have beautiful roses outside that don't have a scent because they've been so highly bred. So you want the roses that have a beautiful smell, whether they're white or they're pink or they're red or they're yellow. I generally am using pink and red roses. I can't grow enough. I buy some roses too, for sure, because I also like rose tea. Um, rose baths are beautiful for the nervous system. And yeah, it is a question of building and soothing, right? Building, strengthening, and soothing, both. Um, yeah, so I think I got all the questions.
Yeah, you got
So
it.
different parts. You can definitely use the leaves of rose, make lovely tea, and the stalks. I haven't personally worked with the roots, so not that I know of, which doesn't mean I'm sure there's herbalists out there who do. And lastly, I'm a huge fan, especially in winter, of the hips, right? The hips of the rose, the fruits of the rose, those are beautiful for our kidneys.
Mm,
Kidneys, you mentioned Chinese medicine, Angel. Kidneys hold, in Chinese medicine theory, they hold the Jing, or the life force, and they're also the organs that get most challenged in fear, like the
mm,
lungs with grief and the kidneys with fear. So if fear, you know, is taking up too much space in your being, rose and rose hips could be really helpful, along with the nettles Angel mentioned.
mm,
Nettles strengthens the kidneys. So if we think of it energetically, then we're also strengthening the life force, and we are countering, right, the fear. And remember that you can't let go into a vacuum. So if you're looking to let go of fear or let go of anxiety, then you've got to put something in its place. Right?
mm.
It's got to have something else that is there for you. So maybe it's wonder. Like, you know how it could from one second to the next, it could be like, oh my God, I wonder what's going to happen. It could become, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. You know, I mean,
Mm.
just as one possibility, right?
Yeah,
But
I like that.
curiosity, wonder, these are really good energies for us to cultivate. And every single thing that I'm saying to you are things that I work on myself, right? That I need, right? My first teacher always said that you always teach what you most need to learn. So I
Mm.
tell you what I tell all my students, you know, if you want to know what I'm working on and what I'm challenged by, just listen to what I'm teaching you, and that's what it is, right? So, you know,
So
I'm not on any pedestal. I'm walking the same path. We're all in this together.
yeah,
We're
I
all
like
in this.
that, and that energy. I want to kind of bring that and weave it with rituals or meditation and connection. I feel is such an important part. I think I was writing to you this afternoon. Hey, I want to make sure we don't talk about plant just like we're consuming them, right? We're like consumers of them, right? Obviously, it's not the way you walk, Robin, and you have this amazing reverence and connection, right? Like with a person, right? To those beings.
Yes.
So can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about uh, how do we bring that into our everyday life, right? Into our teas, into our, we can do big ceremony with them, but really bringing that level of ritual and sacredness so we kind of really call in that plant spirit, that we really connect to it and it feels welcome to connect with us because it feels seen, I guess. It feels respected,
Beautiful.
honored.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gorgeous. I always think it's good to start simply and to start with, well, and kind of to end simply too. I think make it, whatever you do, make it doable. That's the first thing. Like, so set
Mm,
yourself up to succeed. Like, and so like when you were saying those examples, what I thought was, it could just start with thank you.
mm,
Like if I remember to say thank you, Hotham, thank you, sassafras, thank you, oats, as I'm putting that in my jar. Thank you, water. I mean, how lucky am I that I have water coming out of my tap, right? And fire for boiling the water. Like really starting with thank you is a beautiful prayer of connectedness.
mm,
And if you, in your honesty, are like, I don't really feel that way, then try it on. Like not really like fake it till you make it, but like try it out, right? Because maybe the scientific part of your left brain goes, but I'll feel silly. Like that's okay.
mm.
That's okay. Or you could say it quietly if you feel embarrassed, right? Because we've had this natural relationship cut out of us, pulled ourselves away from it. We've been pulled away from it, rather. And what I've seen is that things that feel like, oh God, that'll take forever for me to open to that, or so, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's like it's so much a part of our how we've evolved with the plants who are older than us. So that's another beautiful way to start with the elders, The plants are our elders. They've been on the planet far longer. What I really want to encourage you to do is to ask, is to ask, is to ask them for guidance with what you need, with what you need. You know, ask them. That's, you know, so is that a ceremony? I think it's a ceremony. It's not maybe set aside and right, but it is a
It's a ceremony of
kind of,
life, right? It's our life become the ceremony, right? It's making it
yeah.
simple, I
Recently,
guess.
someone said to me, I really want to believe in magic, but I'm not sure if I do. You know, is magic real? And I said, you know, that's not actually the point. The point is that reality is magic. The point is reality is magic. And how do we reacquaint ourselves with this truth? And if you doubt that, I mean, watch a bee pollinating a flower, watch a, you know, a baby being born, hold the hand of a person you love as they leave their body and die. It is, you know, form becomes energy and energy becomes form. This is like a part of our everyday existence. And we're not seeing that that is magical, you know? So it's, and if you want that, then you ask spirit to help you see the magic. Ask, you know, drink your dandelion, and dandelion brings light in the dark, to the dark spaces. So like if you're in a dark place, dandelion is a beautiful medicine for you. And the thing that I love, think of those golden flowers.
Yeah, I was
The thing,
going to ask you dandelion flower or leaves or roots because you know there's different ways to prepare
and
it.
the answer is leaf, root, flower. Yes, yes, yes. And I mean, yes, physically they do different things. If we want a quick summary, root, this is a really quick general summary, right? Every part of dandelion helps the lymph flow. So every part of dandelion will help your spirit flow. Okay. But the root is more active in healing the liver. The kidneys are more active in nourishing you, vitamins, minerals, and also strengthening the kidneys. And the flower is most active in relieving pain that's been stored, emotional pain stored in the body, and also again in moving lymph. So yeah, so dandelion is a really, I had a shaman, a really gifted shaman studying with me once, and the students, the apprentices will have a plant ally that comes to them in meditation for the year. And hers was dandelion, and she was so disappointed. She's like, I'm working with, you know, these power plants and dandelion. And I always remember her project, her final project presentation at the end of the year, because she kind of looked incredibly abashed and humble, and she hung her head, and then she looked at us all and she said, dandelion kicked my butt. Right? Dandelion kicked my butt. What I've learned from this plant is astounding. So every plant has such profound medicine for us, and sometimes we don't even take it into ourselves. However, like with my oak, I've started drinking more oak bark tea because oak said, you know, Robin, you need to grow a little more bark. You need to grow a little more outer coating. I'm like, okay, thanks. I'm sure I can use that. But back to the rituals, and back to even that original question I asked you to think about and feel into, about what steadies you, right? What steadies you? For me, it is ritual is a part of it, like daily, everyday, simple things. So one of the things I wanted to share with you, and this is one of my books, The Gift of Healing Herbs, is I wrote ceremony and ritual as an integral part of healing. And introducing this chapter is Jean Houston saying, I won't read the whole thing, just little snippets here. One of the most poignant human hungers is the need for ceremony and ritual. In its elemental form, this need is located in the deepest, oldest parts of our brain, right? And this opens up new dimensions of our mind and our spirit and our body. So here's just I call it simple ritual to greet the day, and a spoken word earth chant. And I really do this every day. A slight, you know, I vary the words, but basically, good morning, day. Good morning, day. Dearest earth, air, fire, and water. Hello, it's me, Robin, your daughter. Below, above, and the center, Mother Nature, you are now and always my mentor. From below and from above, infuse me through and through with love. Help me walk in joy the whole day through as I walk in harmony with you. What this does is put me in touch with the reality under the drama of the day. Right? The reality under the drama of the day. This is the gift of healing herbs, plant medicines, and home remedies for a vibrantly healthy life. And it's got lots of rituals and recipes, and it's sort of a culmination of about 30 years of being a student of the plants and a student of life. I'm a Sagittarian, so we're eternal students. And
What I love
working,
when when you were
no, go
sharing
ahead.
that in morning prayer, I was feeling that you are putting yourself in relation, remembering, right? We are in relation, right? But there was this very clear moment where I suppose you said, like, you remind yourself and you remind all of it that you are in relation, right? And how it is placed. I felt like this is where I am, and I'm your daughter, like really calling for that relational kinship and alliances, right? And support.
Right. And when you do those things or something like that, right, we're talking less than 5 minutes, right? And it is a way of asking, because what I look for is I look for the commonalities, the things that show up everywhere on the planet, right? Where people are living in kinship with nature. What do I see that's everywhere? And the things that's everywhere is the plants as teachers, as well as healers, and relationship with the elements. And in that book that I talked about, so I think this is essential to find our way through the times we're in. So it's our relationships with ourself, allows us to have healthier relationships with each other. And a really wild but true thing that I've recently been really realizing is that deepening my relationship with plants has helped me have better relations with humans. So that's just kind of great. And the what was I saying? The work with the, I don't remember what I was saying, but coming in back into it now, I feel like it's, what was I saying? Yeah. All right, if it's important, it'll come back in. It always does. The commonality of working within the sacred wheel of the elements is everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. And I believe that it is one of the most important things that we can do. Yeah, this was it. In the time that we're in, is learn who we are in our relationship with the earth, the air, the fire, the water. And one of the really intriguing things I read in that book I held up at the beginning, Teachings Around the Fire, is that fire says the elements are the basis of our energetic connection with each other and all things. So I love that. I'll be kind of playing with that one for a long time to come. So you can feel, so how you might do this, right? Like maybe you don't have a medicine wheel, maybe you don't, but you have water, right? Your altar could be as simple as putting water in a beautiful glass, right? And asking water to help teach you what you need to learn from water, right? Earth, it could be some soil or a beautiful stone, right? Or that flower, right? Earth, right? I want to deepen my relationship with you. You could ritualize this further by, creating an altar to that element, or crafting a work of what I call spirit art to that element. But the essential thing is simply sincerity of wanting to deepen your reciprocal connectedness.
Mm.
And they and the plants and the animals, everybody is just totally standing by going, just ask. We really want to help you humans. We really do. Just ask, but we have to ask,
Mm.
right? We have to humble ourselves to ask, and yeah. Yeah. So fire, I mean, you feel what it is for you. And it's going to grow and change and shift no matter whether this is totally new to you or you've been on your path for, decades. It's still always unfolding. But I wrote out just a couple of things, right? That came to me about Earth teaches, how to be here, right? How to be here, how to be in a body, how to feel, right? And that gives you back your senses, which is really important, right? To trust your senses, your feeling, your sensations. Air helps to illuminate, it helps to lighten up. It's like the dawn, right? The new beginnings that come again and again and again. Water helps us with not only with releasing and letting flow out that which we need to let go, but also with dreaming, right? Water is dark and the divine feminine and the grandmother energy of dreaming, imagining. And that's how we bring new pathways into being. It all starts always in the imagination. And then fire is that wonder, that heart path, that curiosity, that passion, right? Curiosity is like the child version of the adult passion, right? What turns you on? What excites you? So, and then the way that I learned, and what's very vital in my thinking, is that those four elements, the medicine wheel, the wheel of magic, however you want to call it, is the circle becomes a spiral as it moves through time, as we move through time, and that because the circle is held from underneath, which is akin to, and I want to invite you to feel this. Close your eyes a minute and just imagine for a moment. We would normally do this at the beginning, but it's never too late. Like, we invite the air to bring in that light energy of new beginnings and illumination, and feel that air in your breath. We invite and welcome fire to come into our circle and bring in the energy of curiosity and alchemy and warmth and passion, and to spark that into each of us here in the circle. We invite in the energy of water. We invite you and thank you for bringing in the wisdom of water, the wisdom of the flow, the ebb and the tide, the coming to be and the passing away, the sunset that's across the wheel from the sunrise, helping us to trust the releasings. And we welcome you, Earth in the north, place of the living and spirited planet that we're all a part of. We welcome all the diversity that is you, the plant people, the animal people, the insect people, the stone people, the waters, the mountains, everybody, everything. We welcome the earth with deep love. And feel now that circle around you, just even not only around all of us, but like your personal wheel around you. And then imagine the spirits within and below. I thank the spirits within and below for holding our circle from underneath. It's akin to the place of the ancestors. It's also akin to that place where we drop our bones and flesh when we leave our bodies time and time and time again. I also want you to consider that the within and below place that holds us up is akin to the vastness, the spaciousness that's inside you, right? That large essence, spirit that animates you from within. And it's akin to that place to go down and in to retrieve yourself and your own wisdom and to cultivate yourself, your authentic self. And I welcome the spirits above to our circle with deep gratitude, the stars that we also come from, the ancientness that we are, the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, the comets, the beings of star spaces, star places. And I always imagine the future generations in the above the circle place. And above is the place you can spiral up and out to have the more expansive unifying picture of anything you are looking at or considering or contemplating or struggling with. So the below and within, the above and beyond, and then coming back to the center. And I invite you to breathe into wherever feels like your center right this moment. And as you exhale, share from the uniqueness that you are into the center of our circle. Because the center of the circle is the place where the uniqueness each of us is joins together into the oneness of all that is. So on your next inhalation, breathe that integrated oneness into yourself, into your nervous system. And exhale out as it uniquely comes through you, your love to the oneness in the center of the circle. And one more time, because I love threes, breathing that center of oneness, of love, of great mystery, whatever we call it, goddess, God, awareness, mystery, just breathing that in to nourish and feed the uniqueness of your center, which is so needed. And again, exhaling out from your unique perspective, sharing your energy with the oneness in the center of the wheel itself. And even imagine for a moment all those energies just kind of weaving inside you. Air, fire, water, earth, below, above, and the center. And the center is also the void of all becoming. The womb of the goddess, the place of creation. And even perhaps take a moment to feel if there's an element you feel particularly called to work with, or play with, or align with, or one that's hard for you. And we're all made of all of them. And this earth is all of us writ large. So I think the really important thing of this moment that's occurring to me is for you to remember and affirm that you are supported by enormous energies. And they're available to you at any moment. And though you or I, any of us, can feel disconnected we actually never are. It's not possible. Not while we're breathing. It's not possible. So you never have to make it happen. It's more of releasing that which may be keeping you from feeling that interconnectedness. And maybe there's a message one element in particular has for you right in this very moment, if you ask. So I'm going to release this circle now, even though it's always here, by our love and gratitude to the spirit of the center, to the spirits above, and the spirits within and below, and our love and our gratitude to the earth in the north, the water in the west, the fire in the south, and the air in the east. So our circle is now open yet unbroken. Blessed be.
Thank you. I've traveled deep and wide and far, and I feel like I want to kind of close our time and live with that beautiful experience.
Okay.
And I'm going to, I just want to thank everyone that's here tonight and that's listening, but I want to give you the last words and the last, take the time you want, Robin, if there's anything else you want to share. And I want to thank you so deeply for the time tonight and the wisdom that you shared and medicine that you carry. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angel. Thank you. And yes, we need all of our medicine. We need all of us, all of us. So here's I've been writing haikus since the pandemic. So here's one I wanted to share with you. I have several. I could keep you here a little bit longer yet.
It's your
Let's
space.
see. So, okay. Yeah. And you can leave if you need to leave. But this one is, this is a little fun. Experience teaches. That felt good. Do more. That felt bad. Do less. This path leads to contentment. Sometimes it's just that simple, right? So now you know my life philosophy that I'm really trying to live by. That felt good. Do more. That felt bad. Do less. Yeah. I also wanted to say, I'm going to read you the third stanza of a 3-part haiku. And thank you. I'm glad you love that. It's called Partings. And I'm going to read you the third part because it feels like the relevant one to read. It's wise to learn to trust endings. They make space for new goodness to grow. I also want to say, and I won't go into it because of the time, but I do want to say that if you're not currently working with your relationship with the moon and the moon cycles, I highly recommend that because the moon is a beautiful helper for helping us to hear our inner voice, discover our own rhythms, learn when to hold our energy dark, when to shine. So the moon, I have a lot of resources on that, but I write a lot about it in Healing Magic, a Greenwich Guidebook to Conscious Living. And there was one ritual. So I absolutely wasn't planning to just share this right now. I was planning to share it way earlier, but I'm going to say it because there's at least one person who this will really speak to. Releasing grief. This is a ritual. That was given to me actually by a native, a Jemez Pueblo elder named Lucy Yepa Loudon. Go outside to a place where you have total privacy, or at least a reasonable amount, if total privacy is unavailable. Dig a small hole in the earth. and ask Mother Earth to help you as you release your grief. The grief can be over a specific thing or a general feeling weighing you down, and then cry into that hole and let that Mother Earth receive your tears. But simple but deep rituals like that can be really helpful, and the earth will receive and compost for you to make fertile soil for the garden of you. So, and then the last thing I just have to, is, all right. Oh, okay. It's two last things. One is this, just, yes, be deep. This is my journal, my beautiful, as my owl writes it up. Yeah. But also make yourself laugh. Like, make yourself laugh. Isn't that fun? I can't look at that and not laugh. So, the last piece is, I like to open books and just see what they open to for wisdom. So that's another really simple ritual you can do, like to start your day. Maybe for some of you, it's a tarot card or it's an I Ching or what have you, but really you can do with absolutely any book. And so the book that I'm planning to publish in the spring, I did like with the oak, I said, what's a message for our circle tonight? And here's what I open to for you. And I think this is a good way to end. This is the illustration that goes with what I'm about to read you. Not by me. And it's a little 4x6 book called The Green Witch's Pocketbook of Wisdom. And so each page is like a one line with a little explanation. So here's what I pulled for you. As we come home to ourselves, we inevitably come together to create a healthy world. As we come home to ourselves, we inevitably come together to create a healthy world. And the little underneath it is, when we are at peace inside, at home in our own skin, we transcend our sense of separation from others and realize we are one in infinite forms. Everyone, human and more than human, matters deeply. I know you know that.
There's so many level of knowing, right?
Yep. Now we're all learning to live it. Yeah.
Thank
Just
you,
remember,
Robin.
we're all in this together.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Blessing
Thanks,
to you. Thank you, everyone that was here tonight. We'll publish all the links of the books and the websites for Robin in the follow-up emails and under the podcast and everywhere we're going to publish this. Much blessing to you all if you are listening recorded. And the podcast, I invite you to see the video so you can see all the beautiful drawings and books and everything there. And everyone has a wonderful end of the year and holidays and solstice.
Yeah.
And much blessing to you all. Thank you, everyone.
And I will be having an online solstice ritual. Sign up on for my newsletter if you want to get, updates on things like that.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Angel. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. You have a beautiful evening or rest of the day. Thanks.
Much peace. Have fun.